banned out the Leona, did not go towards something like a Rakan or the Leona or even a Nautilus for hard engage, because they're putting themselves into a similar spot as what they had in game number 1, where yes, you can set up fights with that Bard ultimate, but there's no one to go in and have Galio ult in. There's no real point and click go button like they had with the Leona in that last game. So we'll have to see if they can actually find their way around a lot of these fights without that. Because yeah, they have the Kindred ult for the defensive utility and try to Galio out of that, but on the other side, there's a lot of poke. You can be throwing wild cards, you can be throwing the swirled seeds, actually turn off the tower, plus there's potentially an ultimate sleep coming through from Lilia, so there's a lot of things to cleanse, and you can't do it all. There's point and click stun from the Pantheon, so Bin is going to have to play a pretty careful game, because this is one where if he loses control of that top side, he could be getting pushed in and dove consistently.
Yeah, you mentioned how the Ezreal makes a lot of sense when you have a lane partner like Pantheon that wants to roam. I think Volibear makes a lot of sense when you have two globals that want to dive with you. That ward over the wall is going to be able to find two. It's some trouble for Yagao, who tries to get himself away, but Bin grabs the first blood, and Suning is immediately in hot pursuit. Lumao, see you later, bud. Double kill for the gangplank. You said he might be in some trouble. How about 700 extra gold? For anybody out there who might have skipped math class, remember that it only takes 700 gold to turn a blue crystal into a Sheen. He gets Sheen at 1 minute and 15 seconds.
Get me out. If I'm Zoom, I do not want to have to lane against a level 1 gangplank with Sheen. Are you kidding me? That just basically erases everything I talked about, because there's not really any chance for Zoom to actually control the wave whatsoever now. And they just had a beautiful setup there with Angel over the wall with the taunt. Bin started barrel level 1, not Q, to be able to barrel over the wall there. So at the very least for Zoom, he's not going to be getting Q'd from level 1. Thank God for him. But Bin could actually just look to push this in, and set himself up to have a really nice level 2, and Zoom knows he doesn't get to play this lane in any sort of a normal way now. Grasp plus the Sheen and Trial by Fire. Notice he never uses auto. Look at this damage. He's already lost 2/3 of his health because the Sheen proc comes off the barrel there. He now resets the Trial by Fire. Note how Bin is not autoing minions. He's intentionally not spending that Trial by Fire passive until he absolutely has to, so that if Zoom ever walks up, he gets the free true damage, the grass proc, the Sheen proc, and pretty much just ends the lane.
Engage in the bottom lane, 2v2 going all the way. Logan takes some damage there, but now it's Huan Feng who's got to be respectful. Pantheon very, very strong in these 2v2 situations, sidestepping away from the Deathly Flourish.
Yeah, Pantheon can be really powerful and frustrating to deal with when they actually have really good use of that Empowered E, of that shield, where you're absorbing and blocking out so much of the damage while, dealing it yourself. But that being said, you have to be careful on your exits from those trades as a Pantheon, because if that root lands, all of a sudden you have no more spells on cooldown. You're getting hit by a Bard and a Jhin, who both have those ranged attacks, and you don't have the ability to actually turn around and fight. So you've got to be really precise with your trades when you're playing in that type of matchup.
Bin with the shot from the Sheen,
just
with
not
that
fair.
grasp. All you do, just auto-attack the minions, get the grasp ready to go. As soon as that proc is locked and loaded, it's just a bullet in the magazine, man. Fire it off, collect your free trade win. As Suning will have control over the top side here, taking this Rift Scuttler, and that's also the one that the mark spawned on. So SOFM will pick up his first mark of the game.
Yep, nicely done by SOFM. Going to be able to grab that. Sword Art maybe getting picked here, though. Great setup.
This is a good one coming out here for JDG. Going after Sword Art, who gets a binding and lives, and they follow him over the wall. They're right into the waiting arms of Angel. And JDG, they missed the kill by less than 50 health. And Sword Art baits them into a really bad spot. Angel goes for the Winds of War, but they don't quite find their target. Suning Gaming having the early game of their lives.
All right, I got a little bit excited when I saw that taunt. Thought it was going to be more of a turnaround, but we are still early in the game, so they couldn't quite finish off those kills. Still, things going incredibly well for Suning. And remember, Bin had strong games where he was very far down, in the early stage, both the last 2 games, right? He was down 40 CS in the first game. He was down a good 20 CS in the last game. Now he's gifted the Sheen at level 1. Zoom is just in such an awkward spot, and Zoom is going to take a lot of damage there. It's just so tough. Like, he now has no TP. So both his charges of that refillable are used. And if he actually has to go back to base on a bad timing now, his game can be effectively over. like it's actually the second time you get sent back to base that you're just so screwed. And he's going to have to go back to base. The wave is pushing away from him, and this is going to create essentially a disadvantage of an additional 10 to 15 CS, because the minions that are grouped from Zoom will be killing off Bin's minions, and Bin will be last hitting them himself. It looks like he is going to elect, instead of freeze, to just push and reset and save his TP. So either way, it's an absolute disaster for Zoom, and really through no fault of his own.
Right.
It's just one of those situations where this is an unplayable lane, and you've just got to try to not die and pray that your team can carry you to victory.
It's all about that level 1, right? Because when so many people are involved in the fight, the only way Gangplank gets the money for the Sheen like that is if he gets both of the kills. And tragically for Zoom, that's just what he rolled. But now Sword Art will face check another brush. This time the follow-up is there. JDG punishing this bar.
Yeah, really nicely done. They lay a trap again. It didn't work out that first time, but Sword Art is punished the second time. And even worse for him, he actually portaled into Loken, so giving Ezreal the kill there, definitely what you don't want to have happen.
Right.
So JDG are honestly navigating this out about as well as they can. Loken is in a good spot now. You know, he already had the tier, he gets an early kill. Sure, Zoom is not going to have any fun this entire game, but doesn't mean you can't win.
Lumao might not be having any fun either. Deadly Flourish hit the mark that time around. Gangplank ulti summoned up. Just get the assist money in there as well. Feels Goodman. And it looks like Suning Gaming now have the chance to go after the earliest first Drake of this series by a mile. The other two, remember, taking around 10 minutes and 11 minutes respectively. This one taking it 6 minutes into the game.
Yeah, and honestly, that was a silly invade from Lumao. He's trying to go for some deep vision, but you see the pink ward there. Your Ezreal's in base, your Lilia is topside, Yagao is not near you. You know, do you really think the opponents cannot respond in the time it takes you to clear out an entire pink ward? Of course they can, right? And that, I think, is just a little bit of a brazen play there from him. And rightfully does get punished. They lose the dragon, they lose a kill. So a bit of silly stuff there from Lumao, but thankfully for Zoom, at least on the top side, he's picked up some armor. He is stabilizing a little bit, but when you look at the inventories, it's pretty sad.
Nice barrel chain. No, that's what I was going to point out. He was able to get another Trinity Force component on his first back, Bin was. Compare that to cloth armor, plus the insane itemization of cloth armor. It's just not in the same ballpark. The amount of power on this Gangplank. I know, but it's just... Oh my goodness, it's a very different world between these two players up there in the top side.
Bin showed up with a Ferrari, and Zoom's like, I have 2 wheels from a bicycle.
They're not attached to the bicycle right now, but I'm just waiting to get the rest of the bicycle. Unfortunately, needs a little bit more money to get the full-on bike, and he's not going to get there for a while. Yeah. So that top lane's going to keep going the way of Bin, and like you already pointed out, the important thing will be to see how he's able to impact these mid-game fights, playing from a power position instead of a position of recovery like he has in the previous 2 matchups against the Renekton, where he was pressured early on in the lane and just sort of had to concede a lot. Bottom side, Loken might be able to pick himself up a plate here. Yes, sir. 160 gold in his pocket on that one. Does have a minion lead as well, but plenty of minions to farm up there for Huang Feng to get that one a little bit closer. Yeah,
and honestly, credit to Zoom. You know, it's not as though this is like a Jace who got those 2 early kills and just straight up kills you. Like, Gangplank can harass you, but Zoom is taking the L's as he has to, but he's keeping healthy, right? He's not greeting it out, trying to stay around to pick up extra farm. He's accepting the fact that he's been put in a bad spot, and he's making the best of it. Yes, he's down 20 CS, but I would say that's actually pretty impressive that he's, you know, really been able to hold on fairly well here, given everything that has happened. So Zoom really, I think, showing his worth again as a top laner, and really one of the world's best, as he may be picked on here by Sword Art.
Yeah, both these top laners are such high caliber. You mentioned already about how it's so cool for the LPL that now they have this native talent showing up, and to have them going at it like this in the 1v1 in this quarterfinal series, they just get to really show what they're worth. Sword Art up here will not facilitate even a summoner spell being expended, so Zoom's still happy about that. The Volibear does have the ulti, and remember the Volibear will still have a significant impact in a fight because of the extra health he gets there, even if he's behind.
9 minutes.
He's strong. Yeah, Triforce versus Ninja Tabby. Not the most even matchup.
Some cool shoes.
And as I'm saying, the Volibear will be impactful in a fight even if he's behind. Well, you just can't quite match the same impact as Trinity Force Gangplank.
I mean, JDG have no business fighting this. I actually think it's silly that they even moved up. I would much rather just see Ezreal just farming down on bot side. Allow Jhin to go top side and answer this, and have your Ezreal pushing down on bot side, try to take a plate, try to get more gold into the hands of the Ezreal, because he's going to have to do the heavy lifting. You're going to the side of the map where it's Ninja Tabbies versus the Triforce and saying, all right, let's fight it out,
bro.
It's just not going to work.
Well, Deadly Flourish finds the volley bear.
Nice ult.
Stun into the wall will be stopped. Now, let's see how good Huanfeng is at aiming. 3 for 3. Oh, the flash away from the fourth one just to make sure of it. Huanfeng on the Jhin, losing nothing in between games 2 and 3 here. The skill the man's got to hit those shots, so very important, and it means that first turret's also going over to Suning. That Rift Herald guarantees it 2,500 gold lead 10 minutes in.
That Jhin ult may not have been from inside the enemy base, but it was still pretty good. Hit 3 and 4, only missed 1 when the enemy flashed, so... You know,
You'll take that.
We'll give him a passing grade on that one. He's looking good, and you can see Bin and Huanfeng really, really rich already. SOFN up there as well. Angel, you know, doesn't have as much gold, but honestly, he doesn't really need it. He's just going to be working towards playmaking items. He has the Predator boots on Lucidity. You know, is going to be able to have the additional cooldown reduction on the summoner spells there too, which I always think is very nice for champions that are heavily reliant on their playmaking in the form of flash, in the form of teleport. Work toward that proto belt, which is even more playmaking, as well as the wave clear. AoE passive on your auto, your Q is AoE, your E is AoE, and you can proto belt in pretty much one-shot waves. So it allows you to just push out the wave and move to the side lanes where you're trying to make things happen.
Suning Gaming not falling asleep at the wheel here, wants to continue building this lead up as effectively as possible, moving into the mid game now, rotating all over the map, picking up more plates. We've still got 2.5 more minutes of plate-based gameplay. There's plenty of standing gold on this map for either team to try to take, and with the lead Suning has, you expect them to be the ones looking to smash those plates, either in mid or in bottom. Bin is down here now dealing with Loken. The Gangplank's still very strong, has the free boots kicked in, so that now he's got a little bit of extra move speed here too. TP shows up. Suning is going after the Drake, and they're making sure they got all the firepower nearby to do it. JDG will be moving towards this area, trying to collapse. I don't think there's any reason to really fight this. Your opponents already have priority. They got there 10 seconds earlier. Doesn't really mean a whole lot's going to happen. TP comes through. Nice turnaround. Sword Art again in a bad spot. Sword Art taken out at the very, very end of the fight. Lumao grabbing the kill on that one as SOFM and Yagao are into the 1v1, but it will not be a 1v1 for long. Lumao showing up now as SOFM goes into the Lamb's Respite. Here comes Galio. Here comes Jhin. The whole damn party's here, baby. It's time to get crazy as Suning Gaming shows how you back up your boys in enemy territory.
Yeah, and JDG are just overforcing. They don't need to continue chasing onto these plays. They're looking to fight at a time where their opponents are so damn strong. You know, I feel like they can play it more passively, let Ezreal get the 2 items, allow TF to try to play to the side lanes, and just try to slow this game down a little bit, because when you're going into these scraps, Suning is playing from such an advantage that it's really hard to see them winning out in a lot of cases, and Suning is making the most out of it.
And Yagao falling there 0-2 and 0. Now remember, the first death was the level 1, and now this second one here to the Kindred in that 1v1 in the enemy jungle. SOFM 2-0 and 3. We were surprised in draft to see him opt in for this pick with the Lilia still up. But now let's take a look at this replay here in the bottom lane where Sword Art died at the start.
Yeah, it was a great turn, honestly. As soon as the TP is coming back in, Sword Art just kind of wants to slowly walk it back out, but the flash in from Lumao there, finding the kill. And then SOFM, he is low, and that looks very scary, but he knows with just a Rod of Ages, you know, there's no CDR built up on the TF. Once he spends that first rotation of spells, it's going to be a long time before he gets another gold card, before he gets another wild card. So he can actually punish during that window. And despite the fact that Lumao got up there, might have been able to punish in the 1v1, Galio is there to back up his jungler, and SOFM already in a really, really good spot. Has the Warrior, has the Merc Treads, which is going to really lower the chance of just kind of getting CC chained before being able to ult, because there is a ton of CC over on JDG. So I think you have to pay your respect to that and grab yourself up the tenacity. Otherwise, it's just such a high chance of looking silly and getting CC, dying before you can ult.
And it's not even CC that you're allowed to outplay either. Both Twisted Fate and Pantheon are a point-and-click stun. So,
thing with Volley.
If they're, Volley Bear, of course, at least he has to run up to you. You can try to kite him away. But the other two have the ring. Yeah, point and run at them and hope they don't have any mobility. So, either way, Really deadly stuff there with that CC. You do like to see the tenacity coming out. Lethality in SOFM's inventory now. So really looking at this enemy composition, saying nobody's tanky except for Volibear, and he wants to make sure that when he hits those non-volley targets, they're going to take a lot.
Yeah, this is really interesting. You know, the build that I prefer and that I see a lot of when you don't need to go towards Black Cleaver is usually Stormrazor. I think it's really effective, especially kiting back and forth against some of these champions. But Lethality can be pretty powerful too. We'll have to see where he wants to go with it. You know, is this going to be a Ghost Blade or a Dust Blade, something really aggressive, or is he just going to go more for the vision control?
Well, bottom side, Yagal's trying to deal with Bin. They're flashing emotes back and forth. Angel swooped around from the side, wanted to use the Predator there. But Loken will get away. Yagal! He joins the fight, but then he has to flash away to try to survive. Curtain call. Let's see what they're able to find with this one. FOFM forced to use the Lamb's Respite, keeping himself alive. Loken's still barely living, but you can't say the same thing for Lumao. He gets picked off in the jungle, and look at what SUNING is able to do. You've got to focus on so many different things at once, because they're starting to fight in the mid lane. They're falling back. They're punishing you when you TP in. Now they're going to start a fight on the flank, and that's where they grab the kill. This team is on the same page, and now they're taking their third turret of this game.
JDG is falling apart. You know, that ult from Yagao smelled a little bit like tilt to me. You know, when you're ulting in front of multiple members from the opposing team, no stopwatch, no Zonias, your team isn't there to back you up, you know, not only did that cost him his flash, his health bar, and you know, eventually the turret, Loken had to actually block out so many of that shots that Loken also couldn't stay to defend. So not only are you losing the bottom lane tower to GP that no one's marking, you lose a member in the jungle, you lose your mid lane tower, Ezreal and TF have to go back to base. They are just losing full control off of some of these plays. You know, I honestly was pretty impressed with the early minutes after that level 1 went so bad, how they had relatively found stability, you know, in this game, right? They got the kill for Loken, things are looking okay, but they're going for these plays that feel like they don't need to force them, and maybe they're not realizing that they were still kind of in this game, right? And now at this point, you forced a number of plays that were very low percentage. You lost them all because SUNING executed well, and now it's 2 dragons to 0. You're down 5K, and the third dragon, Soul Point, is coming up here.
Well, I will say this about Twisted Fate. I mean, the champion, you can jump into enemy lines if you have that stasis like you were talking about, right? Yeah. If you've got the stopwatch, if you've got the hourglass. But when you think about it, Messiah and Misplay they share a lot of letters in common. You don't have to go too far to get from one of those words to the other, and you don't have to go too far in your inventory to get from one to the other either. So Yagal's Twisted Fate is at a point in time now where there's no more room for errors, really. Not in a 5,000 gold deficit at 17 minutes, not in a game where your opponents are looking to put themselves at Soul Point and there's no way you can even contest. Now, the light shining in the darkness here for JDG is this is not an Ocean Soul game. So at least this is the first one in the series where that Soul isn't going to have that massive impact on it. Yes, Cloud Soul still means that there's going to be low ultimate cooldowns on your opponents, and we've seen some effective use of those ultimates so far, but it's not an Ocean Soul, so that's at least something.
It is something, but I also think that the 10% flat move speed is super underrated. You know, it's not as just like straight up, this just works no matter what. But look at the value that pros place on things like Swifty Boots, because they're so good at controlling their character and dodging out skill shots. The 10% move speed is just even more of that, right? You know, good luck actually catching Huangfeng and locking him down with Swifty Boots, with you know, all of the additional move speed too.
Oh, one more arrow in his back to take Kanavi down. That will be his first death of this game, but SOFM just makes it look free.
Yeah, that was a big chunk of damage. That's the lethality plus the warrior coming through. Might be Emax second, you know, some Kindreds do W second, but the Emax obviously is that additional burst, the missing health damage coming through there, and that looked like a lot coming out of SOFM, but now comes the engage. I don't think this is going to work. He got no damage, Zoom.
Well, Sword Art gets over the wall, using the magical journey. Sword Art's still in some trouble, but they're kiting away from it. Zoom continues the chase, needs a little bit more. He won't find it. Sword Art just gets out. This seems so desperate from the side of JDG.
Yeah, they just look like they're done with this game, kind of. They want to go next, it feels like. And that's just an engage. You know, no one from his team is looking to follow up on that. Even if you kill off the support, you're trading your life as a top laner for that of a support, which really just isn't worthwhile. The ultimate, the flash, playmaking ability, that you have as this Volibear to maybe find a way back into this game is no longer there. Just results in another kill going the way of SUNING. They are up 8,000 gold now, and this is where mental strength has to come in huge for JDG. They have got to calm down. They have got to be able to shake off a game like this. You had a horrible level 1. You just got slammed in game 2. You're the favorites, and there is a chance that you start to get shaken by that. They need to regroup. They need to play out this game as best as they can and then go into game 4 with a fresh mindset, because this one is getting a bit messy for them. I think that had that level 1 happened and they just didn't contest anything until 3rd Dragon, then fought, it might have been something where you could make something happen, but having contested every step of the way, it feels like now they're so far behind that I don't know how they can ever contest at Seoul.
Well, if you want a summary of this game, the only place you have to look is that scoreboard. Look in the very top column there. The rest isn't even required. When the gold popped up, it was 4,000 gold, the 1v1 difference between Bin and Zoom. And look at the inventories. It's Trinity Force, Essence Reaver, most of Infinity Edge versus one of the best garage sales you ever saw in your gosh darn life. Balmy Cinder, Glacial Shroud, Chain Vest, Kindle Gem. None of these are a completed item. Every single one of these, he bought off the table in somebody's driveway, just putting together a collection of odd things. And it's not enough to survive in the middle of a team fight. It's not enough in a 9,000 gold deficit. And now the Baron is started up by Suning Gaming. They set it as a trap. Sword Art's coming through the wall on the magical journey. Zoom now finds himself on the flank. SOFM, he shut down Suning Gaming with an incredible mistake as Zoom now re-engages. They're still trying to find some more. Angel's in the middle of 5. He goes into the stasis, keeping himself alive as Bin's looking for the damage. Onto the mid laner, able to find it now. Huan Feng grabbing the kill onto Yagao, but now Huan Feng also dies. Suning Gaming, they just dialed up Uber Eats. They delivered free delivery over to JDG. Everybody's getting fed. That was a throw.
What is happening, Flowers? They were so far ahead. This game felt almost guaranteed. They go for that play. SOFM can't get the ultimate off. Now they get aced, and they might lose Baron here as well. We'll see if anyone from Suning can get out there fast enough, because this is a pretty tough Baron to take. It's still very early on, but they're TPing to it. I don't know if SOFM can get here in time. He does have ultimate and smite. Sword Art can get him over there. He's trying to delay. It's going to be close.
SOFM is here. Over the wall, can he get it? No. SOFM jumps in. Baron will go over to the side of JDG, but it is already 2 kills for the follow-up attack from Suning Gaming. They have managed to at least get something off the back of this, but what was a 9,000 gold difference has now shrunk back down to a little bit over 5.
There's some hope now. There's a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel here for JDG. The problem is they die right before Soul comes up. So the initial play, yes, it's super aggressive, but you're so far ahead. I don't really have a problem with it. But SOFM way late on that, and then not just kind of taking the L and backing it up, they actually commit more to it. You're ulting in as Angel onto the Bard. You're flashing in for a taunt after the Bard dies in a 3v4. And it felt like they were really overextending, trying to make something happen from that. And that is kind of like the bad end of when you go for these plays that are skill checks and you come up short, right? Yeah. That is the argument essentially really on screen for why Damwon plays like Damwon, right? Well, they will just slowly try to cut you out of the game, not give you opportunities like that. They wouldn't go for a risky play like that. They wouldn't try to make that sort of play happen. And sometimes it can turn back and bite you. But Suning, they do grab the soul. At the end of the day, it looked bad, but they're still over 5,000 gold ahead. They still have a 23-minute soul. They are still monstrously ahead in this game.
Right, and the current state of the Red Bull Baron play is plus 500 gold for JDG. Remember that Baron at a baseline gives 1,500 gold because it's 300 per player. So despite the fact that that Baron did go over to JDG and it feels like they did find that light at the end of the tunnel you just mentioned, it's still Suning's game to lose. It is still complete control over the map for Suning Gaming. You can see it demonstrated in the state of the Baron, the fact that the gold lead has just drastically shrunk from that 1,500 because there's no way to get out onto the map and take control of things. JDG is still without a single turret this entire game. The MasterCard Gold Graph showing us exactly the state of what I'm talking about right here.
There's the little oopsie post 20 minutes.
Yes, you can see the thing shrink a little bit. It's not quite as red as it was, but if I asked you how many colors are on that graph, the answer is still 1, and it's still red. So Suning Gaming still in a great spot here. That Baron will be live for another 45 seconds. I expect we'll see them wait that out before they do anything much.
I think the one thing you're maybe holding on to as JDG now is, all right, Loken, this is you. You can 1v9 this game. Ezreal's on 3 items. Maybe he can make something happen. It's going to be incredibly difficult, of course, but they do at least have one strong member to play around.
All right, Jhin opens up the ulti here. Kanabi able to walk out of that one.
Sidestep.
Yep. Good mechanics there, making sure he stays out of the way of it, being cognizant of where he's at. Twisted Fate ulti sees where Suning is, but I don't really think there's a chance to go in and do anything with that one. Still, no stopwatch, no hourglass on the Twisted Fate. If he goes in, he's got to have a way out or some sort of a contingency plan. Does have rapid fire cannon. Always important when Twisted Fate gets this item because it guarantees extra playmaking potential with the long-range stuns. Flash stun into Huan Feng. Forces out the cleanse, but when you have to spend your own flash to get it, it's not really that worth.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they thought it was maybe on cooldown. You know, Mikhail's got used earlier on Kanavi's ultimate, so maybe they misunderstood exactly what had gotten used, because I think that's why the TF ult got popped. I believe it was asleep on SOFM, but maybe there was some sort of miscommunication about, oh, Mikhail's got used versus Cleanse got used or something.
Yeah.
Hard to know exactly what happened there, but in the end, it is that Cleanse down. So that's something that they can maybe look towards. Mikhail's is down, Cleanse is down. If you could get some sort of a flash engage on Huang Feng and kill him off right at the start of the fight, maybe Ezreal can get you the rest of the way. So we'll see if they can get anything done here. SOFM, kind of funny, he's just farming the camp over the wall while Zoom is hitting it.
Well, that's one way to do it. Just a little bit of cooperative PvE gameplay. All right, let's take stock of where everything's sitting. 6,000 gold lead. Baron is worn away. 2 minutes till the Baron's up. 2.5 till the Elder. Zoom is in a bad spot. And all of Suning is about to tell him exactly how bad of a spot it is. Zoom wants to escape, but I don't think so. Huan Feng, again, the man getting paid, the one taking the kill, exactly where they want that money to go. Look at the itemization on the Jhin. Infinity Edge, Storm Razor, Rapid Fire Cannon. Still has more to work on, but damn is he already strong. Tier 2 falls in the bottom lane, and that means every turret not located in the enemy base has collapsed. Suning now pressuring the bottom lane inhibitor turret of JDG. They'll take that one down without a fight, without a contest. And now they're looking at the inhib itself. If you get this inhib removed from the map in time for those big buffs spawning, it does a lot. It creates a ton of extra pressure, and they'll do just that. Suning not wanting to stick around now, trying to get themselves away. Zoom is alive. Suning taking the magical journey, getting themselves away. Yagao went for the flank, but it was subverted by the magical journey. Suning continuing to run away, but now here's your engage. It's Angel who gets caught out, but Angel who flashes away. Sword Art now the nearest player to the side of JDG. Yagao looking to catch up to these guys, but remember, the Twisted Fate has no flash to pair with the gold card. He used it in mid lane. So despite JDG's best efforts, Suning was able to find the right track out to stay alive.
Yeah, nice disengage there from Suning. Did feel like in a more even game, maybe that's an overstay, but because of how strong they are, they were able to stay around long enough, rush down that inhibitor. You could tell JDG wanted to try to stall things out. They had Yagao pushing up on that top side, and I think they were hoping that Suning would not hard commit to going for the inhibitor. That would be a trade of wave top for maybe the inhibitor tower down on that bot side, and when Suning stayed around, they saw an opportunity to maybe punish, to try to go for something. So, you know, even though they didn't have the perfect angle for the flank, I respect the attempt at an engage. That is playing to win, you know, instead of just playing risk averse and playing to not lose. And I think, you know, they have really kind of calmed down and been playing a lot better over these last couple minutes after they got those kills, after they got the Baron.
Yeah.
It feels like they were saying, all right, we can actually win this game. Let's slow it down. Let's play a little bit more intelligently. Let's see what we can get done. But it's still going to be a very difficult road for them. The Elder is almost up here. They are massively behind in gold. Yes, Ezreal is strong, but he's going to need some help. It's got to be a great engage for him to be able to get a kill right off the bat and maybe snowball through the fight.
Well, it's hard for him to get that help because the champion graph, or the chart that showed up just a second ago that was showing total damage to champions throughout the game. Both Zoom and Yagao have less damage to champions dealt this game than either team's support. Lumao's Pantheon has done more damage than Twisted Fate. That is the state of this game. for JDG. It is a very difficult point to play from because it is showing the difficulty that Yagawa's had doing much of anything. 0-3-3 on the TF. The Elder Drake is up. SUNING sees that Twisted Fate ulti has been used here. They're just making sure they don't put themselves in a bad spot before that one goes through. Lumao now going to be tanking a lot of damage. Curtain Call opens up, and it's Angel in the back of the enemy team. All of JDG having to deal with the Galio. Curtain Call shots continuing to fire through. Gangplank ulti summoned up. Very low health bars across the board here for JDG. Deadly Flourish finds Zoom, but nobody else is there. Kanavi now back in the mix. The red buff is up, but can he stick around to try to contest this one? I don't think so. JDG, they have to reset. Everybody's in pretty poor shape here. Yes, Kanavi is full HP. Does he go for the flash over the wall? Does he go for an attempted steal? He can't now anyway. The binding finds him, and now he's in stasis. Angel coming around. He's looking for Loken. Remember, the Ezreal's the one hope they might have. Angel continuing to move forward, now falls back to the rest of the team. SUNING, they've got the Elder, they've got control over Summoner's Rift, they've got minions in the enemy base, and they've got time for Baron.
They're going to grab the Baron here. Really nicely played by SUNING, not allowing JDG to ever even have that chance at a fight. Controlling vision in the enemy jungle so completely that Yagao was forced to use the TF ultimate just basically to scout, to try to get a handle on where SUNING may be, to see if there was an angle of approach, and there was not. Kanavi never had a shot at going for a smite, and that is the kind of clean play that you do want to see. SUNING calming down after what was, a foolish fight in mid lane, giving JDG another lease on life. They have been playing out since then very, very cleanly. They grab the Soul, they grab the Elder, they grab the Baron. They have everything they now need to close out this game.
For the next 90 seconds, they will have both of those huge buffs. Elder is only going to be on for that duration. Baron will be up for another minute thereafter. So I expect SUNING to push very, very hard during this next minute of gameplay. Look to end the game here. Use the power of a 9,000 gold lead and both super buffs to just end this game, put themselves at match point, and take us to game number 4. JDG will have to play just perfectly. And honestly, SUNING will have to make some pretty big errors to lose any fight with this current game state.
Yeah, and they've already set up all the waves, so they're just not even going to get a chance to really wait it out. Bot lane already had the inhibitor down. SOFM zoning multiple members off on the side. Mid lane was getting pushed in by Bin, so this tower is just gone too. And that's going to be triple in him, because if you're not fighting at the inhibitor tower, you are not fighting anywhere except at your Nexus with that Elder up. You can see that SUNING realizes this, but Zoom's stepping a little bit far forward. You've got to be careful.
Just a little bit of exposure to the enemy team means 1/3 of his health bar, and that's the tank. The tank that only has 2 items. 32 minutes, excuse me, into the game because of the state of the level 1, because of Bin getting both of those kills. It has echoed so much throughout this game. Curtain Call opens, Yagao and Lumao run away. Pantheon blocking some of the damage here with the E, as now both Nexus turrets are taking a beating. Now. Nexus turret number 1 is down, but Elder being gone means JDG might have their only chance right here. They make the move onto SOFM, but the Lance Respite is in time. Angel finds the taunt onto 2. The fight is done before it even began. A double kill for Bin, an absolute destruction of JDG, and another promising game for SUNING. They will get the triple kill onto the Gangplank. They will get themselves a win, and they will take us to match point.
SUNING up 2-1 now in this series, and what a crazy game.